if you put a big bird in a small cage, he sings, he says.
Did you write a lot of songs you sang through the telephone for girls in your high school time?
I just improvised. That was
Okay.
terrible. Well, 14, 15. I remember me and my friend Louis, who's actually, we actually learned how to write music a lot together. Amazing piano player. We were like 13, 14, we'd go to school trips and we'd get really drunk and he'd play piano and I'd sing because we know he'd be like these big band meetings and all the high schools would be there in the same hotel and we'd be like, I'd be like, hey baby, and I was out 14, super wasted with Louis trying to meet girls. That was funny.
Did they fall for it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Louis. I wish Louis was here. He's funny.
Yeah. So he's your friend from back in high school.
Yeah, he was a good buddy of mine.
Okay.
Still a good friend.
And
He's a very good. He writes part of the lyrics sometimes. Like on the last record, he wrote part of the lyrics for Sleeping Beauty. On the record before that, he wrote on this record. He helped me finish Machinery of the Heavens, the lyrics. So we've been working together, kind of, in a lot of ways for years. We always kind of meet up, show each other our own ideas, and he's like a genius. He plays piano like a wizard. Like he's insane.
what did he teach you?
Well, our styles of music, we kind of played off each other, I think, for years. I mean, we've been best friends for years now. And he has a very specific way of playing piano, and I have a really specific way of playing piano. And he's a very rhythmical piano player. Like, because he has complete independence in his two hands, he can do these bass lines with the one hand while he's, having a conversation, sipping coffee with the other, So he, kind of rhythmically, he's, he also writes really weird songs, He's a great lyricist, We've just been rubbing off each other for years now.
Okay. Yeah. In what way do you think you have improved yourself on Wooden Arms?
I think we wanted to do a more percussive record, less kind of ambient, that's always in the clouds, We wanted something that moved. We wanted something that didn't have a lot of reverb in it, like there's barely any reverb in this record. We wanted something that kind of captured everything live, even sound effects, so we used like Foley instruments like bikes and stuff. So I think in that way, I think the lyrics are better. They're really I think the lyrics are more interesting. So in different ways, I don't know if we improved, but we did different things that we really wanted to accomplish,
Yeah. And the album title, Wooden Arms, where did you base that on?
I was walking through Zagreb one day, and I was walking through the city, and I was having a really long day. And I just took this little turn, and I ended up in this beautiful woods in the middle of the city. It was such a nice place, so I stayed there for hours and hours. And that night, I wrote the words for Wooden Arms.
Okay. In what way do you think classical music is important to modern musicians?
Well, they have a really good... when you used to make a classical piece of music, there's like a lot more detail in it, right? Which, you may be able to find 1,000 songs in one classical piece of music, so... The other thing is they weren't so distracted by sound or like by, I don't know what the best way to say this, but there's a lot of really interesting chord progressions. There's a lot of really amazing constructions of songs. The orchestrations are, if you want to have strings and stuff in your music, you should make sure you listen to a lot of classical music before you use those instruments, because they're like the pioneers of it, And strings, you can just do big long notes, but it's really quite boring, You can do there's about 1,000 different ways of bow. You can hit the back of the bow. There's just lots of different things in classical music. There's all sorts of, it's a library filled with lots of interesting musical ideas.
Do you have a favorite piece?
Oh, God, no. A favorite piece? I don't have favorite pieces. There's pieces I like There's pieces that I like in periods of my life. Like in the recent periods, we listened to a lot of the guy who did all the music for Warner Brothers, the original cartoon music. I always forget his name. Anyways, the old Warner Brothers kind of orchestration where big Bugs Bunny going, and then when someone falls the orchestra was part of the sound effect, which is great. We listened to a lot of Stravinsky recently. I wasn't a huge fan of Stravinsky before, but became more and more a fan of him. We listened to a lot of Gorecki. I think all of us in the band like Gorecki. We all listened to Ava Parton. We all listened to lots of different things,
Okay. In what way do those periods you like, a particular classical piece, influenced your own music?
Pardon me? I understand.
Oh, you just said you have some periods that you like other pieces
I
more
mean,
than
for
others.
sure, the Impressionistic period was a big inspiration for me. Like that's the 1920s, like 1910 and 1920s, so which it would have been like Debussy and like Satie and all those French composers. I mean, that's like something in the roots of my music. But this time we put a lot of that cartoon orchestration. Like Beijing for me is like really like an homage to like the whole drum breakdown's an homage to cartoon music. You know,
Yeah.
I had like everybody doing sound effects live, and I think it's really fun. You know?